Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. 7:08, 23 degrees here overlooking the River Toms at the WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio studios. We are also available on the Radio Pup app. 732-505-1160. Just had a great hour of chat with Rob Onifredi, president of the Toms River Board of Ed. If you missed that and you're sad, turn that frown upside down, because with us on the line, we have Adam Philipson. Adam is the CEO of the Count Basie Theater, a not-for-profit organization in beautiful Red Bank, New Jersey. Adam, good morning.
Hey, Jeremy, good morning. Thanks for having me on the radio this morning.
Adam, thanks for joining me. I am just so happy to hear your melodious voice first thing this morning. So, Adam, before we get started with the hardcore Basie, pitch, what are we doing, what's happening, what's exciting, talk to us. Who is Adam Philipson?
Well, raised in the East Coast, then spent a good deal of my life out in L.A., where I met my fabulous wife, and then we have two kids. We moved back about 3 years ago, actually a few days before Sandy hit. We were fortunate enough to be here for Sandy, and I am the CEO and president of the Count Basie Theater, as you mentioned, a nonprofit organization for really the regional performing arts center, and that means that I oversee fundraising, I oversee programming, I oversee education, finance, and the overall vision and mission of this organization. So I would say I'm have my hands full, stay rather busy, and I'm really proud to have watched this organization have a major transformation and in sort of its perception and in what it's doing. So that's my world.
So Adam, maybe I'm crazy, but I automatically, I think I judge people. I'm not going to lie. And I think as soon as you say you were in LA and then you moved back to the East Coast, right? And then I'm sure your wife was super happy that you're like here just in time for the storm. But I'm sure you moved back for the great opportunity. So tell me, why the Basie? Why was that where you chose to put, to take your massive talents, and why did you devote it there?
The Basie had a phenomenal reputation. There's in Polestar, which is a magazine that rates the quality of the number of performances and whatnot of a venue. So after we do a show, we record how many people came in, et cetera, how many tickets. And you're compared for all seated venues. So, that's up to 10,000 seats, because otherwise you'd be in arena. And so even compared to Radio City Music Hall, which, has 5,000 seats, this community venue, 1,568 seats, was posted in the top 50 of Polestar. So it has a reputation across the country in terms of the artists that wanted to come here. That's one thing. But, I started when we were ready to think about moving back home. I kind of always thought I would move back home, and my family, as I mentioned, I'm from here. So in our minds, there was this sense of when the right thing comes up, we're gonna do it. And I'm a big believer that when you kind of put it out there, obviously if I'm not looking to move back, maybe something will hit me in the middle of the head, but you have to sort of initiate that process by saying, let's do it, let's go. And that process is what my wife and I went through. When you have younger kids, as I know you do, you start to want them to have that experience growing up that you did. Anyway, this is the long story behind the story of when finally I got this phone call saying that they were looking for the top person at this venue. And as I started to dig deeper into what the venue does, and I know you and I are going to unpack some of this today, I just realized, oh my gosh, this is a true community change agent. Not necessarily that it had realized that entire potential, but I just said, this is one of those jobs and those places, that you enter in and it already is at a very high level. But man, I can transform this place. That was really my thought going in, and so close enough to New York, where we still have all of our family, and just felt like this was the right experience and the right moment, and so it all kind of came together like that.
It's funny that you say that. The tagline of our show, after many hours of focus groups, many cups of coffee. I hadn't discovered Coke Zero at that time. After much discussion, much rigmarole, I think I built this up enough. Anyway, we finally came up with get up, get out, and do something, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't necessarily think of a venue like the Basie as a go do something, or like as maybe as the kind of the receiver of activity, but not necessarily the initiator of activity. So,
I think you're right. I'm sorry to jump in.
No, go ahead.
What Sandy ties into that, which is really what happened. And sorry if I cut you off.
No.
But that's what. So here we are. We arrive here, on a Saturday, and the next day, really, we arrived on a Friday night, and 2 days later, Sandy hits, and the venue was shut down. And I got a phone call from my then marketing director. And she says, I got to ask you a question, and, your predecessor would have said no immediately, but I got to ask you, FEMA just reached out. Is there anything that we could do? And in that moment, I said, first of all, 100%. So we staged a press conference, and we became a charging station and a warming station, and inevitably we started to do some free movies for the community. All of our shows were canceled. We had no means of connecting with anybody. Seabright was wiped out, so their high school, so we ended up staging for them their town hall meetings to discuss what they were doing. And we just began, and then, we got this magical phone call. Jon Stewart and Brian Williams wanted to put on an event for us, being that they're both here. And then Manhattan Transfer called us, and they wanted to do a benefit, and it just became this moment where really it was this watershed moment where we were able to, like that, reposition ourselves and build around this idea that we truly were going to be this change agent organization.
That's a beautiful story, and I think I think that is representative. Frankly, it's why I wanted to get involved with the Basie, and why I'm proud to be a board member at the Basie, and why as you alluded to earlier, we're going to sit down later today and talk about some other opportunities that may present themselves for us to be change agents in our community here at the Jersey Shore. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the educational programs that are currently underway at the Basie?
Sure. We have, and first of all, we're very proud to have you as a board member. Just want to
thank you. That was the right thing. That was the right thing to say, Adam. Great job.
Jeremy, cool. I'm pretty good like that. We have a whole great area. I mean, what I think a lot of people didn't know about was that we have classrooms and we have classes. So we have a performing arts academy, and we train students in musical theater and dance and tap and speech and acting, and we put on little plays for the kids, but then we also have these pretty significant partnership programs where there's three things that we do specifically. One of them is we have a program called Rocket, where kids travel near and far to learn from a phenomenal group of teachers and then have the opportunity to perform a full-on, blown-out rock show on the Basie, hazers and lights. And we have about 600 to 700 people that show up for those concerts, family, friends in the community that have come to love it. So they're getting a real performance experience on that stage. And then what we try to do with all of our programs are find professional opportunities for those kids, and I'll tell you about that in a second as well. But also we have the Jazz Arts Academy, where we're doing a similar type of training, but with jazz. And we've just started something new this year, and it was a carryover from something that we tried, which is kind of an all-shore. Yep.
Adam, wait. I think you have just set me up for the tease. I'm looking for the spot because I have to pay the sponsors. Hopefully you're among them. And then can you hold that thought and get back to us in 1 minute?
Oh, of course. No problem. We'll take it from Jazz when I'm back.
Yes, take it from Jazz. I'm doing Jazz hands right now in the studio. 732-505-1160 if you want to hop in with Adam and talk. We'll be right back.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin wherever you go. Download the Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Now, back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
All right, welcome back. I have Adam Philipson, CEO of the Basie Theater. I'm telling you what, Basie Theater in Red Bank, by the way. My hands are exhausted from doing jazz hands for that whole break. But I think it's
the whole break.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be good for my forearms down the road. I'm getting my Apple Watch tomorrow. I just wish it would have noted that activity today. Maybe I can back program it. Anyway,
you can.
So we left off with you talking about educational programs and the jazz program, and then you were going to say.
I was going to say that we tried a little program, choir program, kind of an all-shore, which inevitably comes to this philosophy, which is that it's one thing to have classes where you scholarship people, but also that those that can and attend. And I'm a big believer that you have to create the opportunities for as well for those that can't, and that it's great to create opportunities where you put those that can and can't together. And I mean, pay is what I mean. But anyway, so we created this program called a choir, and it didn't exactly go the way I had hoped it to. So what we did this time was we revamped it, and we're calling it now the Count Basie Theater Voices. And this will be an audition-based group. Again, no cost to participate. We have about 30 children, and really we're expecting to have a pretty high-level talent. And they are going to be offered, as we do with our other programs I mentioned, really top-level professional opportunities. So these kids, our voices, are going to be singing with Foreigner, and they're going to be singing with Abomania, and we actually got Ms. Lapone, Patty Lapone, to agree as well, and they'll be singing with Patty. So we're trying to create those kinds of professional opportunities for students. So that's some of our partnership programs, and then we have a big outreach program where we're actually in the schools, and we are in many of those schools where the arts have been cut dramatically. We are in there, and often on our dime, to bring programs, whether it's keyboarding or strings or arts, acting, musical theater, and we bring them into the classrooms. And we're in schools all over Monmouth County, and they're starting to dip into Ocean County as well as we get invited to go in. And it's been pretty amazing. And when I arrived again with this hard-hit areas with Sandy, I had asked the team there, I said, hey, have we ever done any kind of busing programs? And, they had, and then it got very expensive because PTA money dried up and buses went up in cost. And so they cut the program, and I said, no, let's start that again. So we started with 2 shows, and we ended up busing in 1,500 kids from some of the harder Sandy hit areas. And now we have 7 that we do this year.
Wow.
And one specifically where we had a foundation who the Giamione Foundation, Prima, this was Louis Prima, the phenomenal Italian singer, Just for Gigolo, and on the songs. And his wife was from Tom's River, his last wife. So they've been very interested in offering some scholarships, which I think I mentioned, and I'll share more as information comes out about what their plans are. But they've also offered us some scholarship money to be able, some grant money to be able to actually specifically bus in students from the Ocean County area,
cool.
Especially Tom's River. So we've been, anyway, that gives you a little idea of our community outreach.
Hey, can you hang with us till after the break?
On
one condition, of course, that you don't sing again.
I won't sing.
Yeah, cool.
I will tell you some funny stories.
I do want to hear some funny stories about some interesting characters that you've dealt with. 732-505-1160. Adam Philipson, CEO of the Basie. Be back after the news with Adam.
The news never stops at WOBMAM.com. Get the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Welcome back. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio, and available on your Radio Pup app. It is 7:35 in the morning. It is 25 degrees, heading all the way up to 45 today. It's going to be balmy. I am here with Adam Philipson, CEO of the Basie Theater in Red Bank, a not-for-profit organization. Just want to read a quick passage relative to our last point around education and the Basie. Both the New Jersey General Assembly and the Senate unanimously passed Bill A311 to require schools to weight arts courses for GPA purposes equally with courses of similar rigor. This is a bill that's been working on getting passed since 2007, now off to the governor for action. Thank you to Assemblyman John Bramnick, Assemblyman Pat Deenan, Senator Tom Kaine, and Senator Teresa Ruiz for sponsoring this bill and proving leadership in our state for arts education. So arts education
Absolutely.
On the rise. So Adam, you promised us a funny story. Hit us.
Yeah, so there's lots, Jeremy. As you know, we have some heavy personalities that come in the room. But here's one, man. This one just kills us. So Morrissey, great indie rock, just phenomenal performer. We were so excited to get a Morrissey date on this tour, right? And a lot of times he cancels because he's sick. Very, very strict vegetarian. So we were unable to even put a pop-up ad that said, would you like to have dinner reservations at Pazzo because, they serve meat there. So anyway, shows up, tells we have a mandatory security detail, and everybody needs to watch his videos. And this is why there's a mandatory security detail, because in the videos, you see people at any concert climbing on top of each other to get up on stage, where he'll push people away, and sometimes the security rips them down for these hugs, because everybody wants to hug Morrissey, okay? So we have this security meeting. We have to up security. We have PD there. We've got our security. We have this big security detail meeting, and here's what he tells us. They tell us that if we have people pushed away to not be able to climb up, Morrissey will stop playing. So actually, the whole security was about staging how to safely allow for people to actually do this climbing on the stage. So we had to pretend to be pushing people away, but helping them up at the same time so that they could hug him, and then he pushes them away. He does this very dramatic thing. And, to get back at him, because we were a little upset that he made us go through that rigmarole, we actually we took some Slim Jims and we sold them at the bar anyway.
You were sliding meat sales in Adam Morrissey.
We did. And sales were through the roof that night.
Yeah, Adam, that's so petty, and I respect that so much. Really, really cool. All right, so listen, let's get to this is what we call prime time for you, because we are talking about a 20 million with an M, right?
Yeah.
20 million. I'm thinking like Dr. Evil. I got my finger up against my face. $20 million capital campaign for the Basie. So what is this capital campaign all about? What are you trying to do? How are you trying to overtake the world via the Basie?
Well, basically, we were lucky enough to strategically find the land on the east and the west of the building. Hard to do in that area, and there had been some idea that if we could do all of this, we could become this true center for the performing arts. One of the things about a building which this year we turn 90 is there are a nonstop need for upgrades, repairs. So there are some things that never got finished in the initial campaign because when they were about to sort of begin at the back of the house, which is where the dressing rooms and the stage and the backstage area, all of that, which the patrons don't see, but world-class artists do see. And when there's a competition of if an artist is only going to play in one venue in the state, you need to be prime time, and also students that we're nurturing should have the right to be able to perform on a world-class venue. So some of this is finishing what never had happened and never was taken care of during the 2008 restoration. But then there's a chance now, because of the land that we have, to expand. So we're talking about a lobby, a bona fide lobby with new bathrooms and elevators to accommodate patrons, and additional classrooms, because we have outgrown the programs that I mentioned to you. We just, any day after school and in the summers, we're at capacity. So we need additional classrooms. And, the real vision of the future has been this thought about going back and going 10 feet further backstage so that we can do the larger shows and some of the Broadway shows that we're trying to do and have better load in, and then create a second space. And that's this really exciting venue that can be a jazz club. It can be a smaller venue. It can be a great performance venue for kids and nurturing talent. And then it also is this place where we can discover talent and where we can bring a level of bands in and artists that, really the Basie's too big, or they don't want to play a seated venue, so we can have a standing, club-like environment as well. And that's really the future of for us, and something that we're envisioning, that we begin to be this path to progress where we can capture students from the beginning and give them every access, from our partnership programs to performing with stars, to performing, on a lower scale in the second space, to moving up to the big main stage. So we're really hoping to be this model of how you can capture a student and help them find their pathway.
Wow, that's really, really exciting. Great stuff, Adam. I want to thank you so much for your time this morning. I am excited because I think I get to see you again in just 3 short hours as we talk about some other things.
We're looking forward to seeing you. And I thank you for the show. Is great. I've been listening. I'm happy to be here, and it's so great to talk to you and to share what's the good things that are happening.
Hey, Adam, real quick, where could somebody go to help the cause? Let's say they were so inspired by you, which I imagine they were, that they want to go and say, listen, I would like at least to give $1 million of that $20 million capital campaign. Where do they go?
If the number is $1 million, you call my cell phone. No, but
and we'll give that out after the break. By the way, go ahead.
CountBasieTheater.org, and we are THEATRE.org. So CountBasieTheater.org. All the information is there. From our great shows to our education to the Basie's future, and you can contact us. And looking forward to anyone who has ideas of how to help us get to where we're trying to get to.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. Adam Philipson, CEO of the Count Basie Theater, a not-for-profit organization in Red Bank, New Jersey, the premier event venue at the Jersey Shore. Adam, thanks so much again. We'll be right back after this break.